How's it going? I'm Tyler Casey. This is Wolf Talk Wednesday. Today I'm going to be talking about why the GH5 is my favorite camera. Before I get started, if this is your first time to the channel, feel free to like this video and subscribe to see future videos. And if you have any questions throughout the video, feel free to comment and I'm going to try and answer them in future Wolf Talks on Wednesdays. This was my second camera right here. I'm currently shooting on the GH5. My first camera was the T3i. It was a great starting out camera, but then when I got this camera, it opened up a lot of doors. The thing I like about the GH4 and the GH5 is they both shoot 4K. Most cameras shoot a lot of 4K now, like the Sony A7S and whatnot, but what I like about both these cameras is they're really reliable. The batteries on both these cameras are great. They last really long, unlike the Sony cameras that do have overheating issues. So those aren't the best for filming long-term, like weddings and whatnot. Another thing I like about the GH5 is the way it feels in your hand. When you hold it, it feels right. I've held Sonys before. I've shot on a Sony A7S II, and it's not as comfortable in your hand. Like, it feels, I don't know, the A7S is a little bit lighter. The GH5 just feels a lot more sturdy. I've actually seen a GH4 take a tumble and hit the ground, and it just barely chipped. It works completely fine though. Also feel like the menus set up in the GH5 are a lot better compared to the Sony A7S. With the A7S, I've even heard you have to purchase an app to unlock a time-lapse feature. Time-lapses work completely great in the GH5. It's super intuitive, and the custom menu setups are amazing in the GH5 as well. Another thing I like about the GH5 is it shoots 4K 60 frames per second. There's not too many other cameras doing this. Other cameras I can think of for $2,000, the only thing I could really think of is maybe the Phantom 4 Pro. The Phantom 4 Pro does that, so it's also another great thing to pair with your GH5 is to have a Phantom 4 Pro because you get that 4K 60 frames per second. The awesome thing about 4K 60 frames per second is you can export a video in full 4K. You don't have 1080p slow motion. If you want slow motion, you're gonna have to throw some 1080p stuff in there, which isn't gonna look as good. But with the GH5, that's not even a problem. You can edit a full video in 4K. So that's another reason why I love that camera. Another cool thing about Panasonic is they're always updating their cameras. A lot of people were upset with the autofocus and it wasn't the best, but they're constantly updating their cameras and they're always doing updates. Another thing I really like about the GH5 is it matches pretty well to red footage. I edited a video, we used Sony A7S II GH5 footage, and I think we used a Red Dragon, I believe. The footage matched very well to the red footage, and it's kind of hard to, in some scenes, it's kind of hard to tell the two apart. If you're wondering what gear I use, like the GH5 or the lenses I use with it, just click the gear link in the description and it has all the gear I use. If you guys do use one of those links, I do get a small percentage, so that would be dope. That's the end of this Wolf Talk. If you guys have any questions, make sure to comment them below. Make sure to subscribe just so you can see the next one. And I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.